this coaching staff came in, Mike McDonald came in and just loved him up. It just nothing but positive vibes around Kenneth Walker, talking about the kind of back that he can be, that he can get involved in the passing game, that they think he can be this 3-down workhorse player. And I think a lot of people in the fantasy community last year were questioning that, right? Can he actually? He deals with injuries a lot. He didn't really have that pass catching profile coming out in college, but they wanted him to be the engine of this offense. And last year he comes out in week 1, has over 100 yards and a score. Then he gets hurt. First game back after missing a couple games with injury, over 100 scrimmage yards, 3 touchdowns in that game. And he stayed healthy, to his credit, for 9 games before he got hurt again. But even in PPR leagues last year, he was still the RB12 in fantasy points per game. He has that ceiling. He has that RB1 potential. He just needs to stay healthy. And unfortunately, I don't want to compare it to like a J.K. Dobbins situation, but we're getting to the point where if we have another season here where Walker gets hurt and misses time, we're going to have to start to question if he can be that guy. And I wonder if at that point the Seahawks would start to question it. But just because we haven't seen a player, show that he can be healthy for a full season doesn't mean they can't do it. A lot of the injury analysts always remind us of that. And I'm hoping that Walker can put it together. Now, it doesn't help that he was dealing with a foot injury in training camp and he had to miss some games. And again, that's just stuck in your mind like, oh no, hurt again. Zach Charbonnet's waiting there. He's just waiting for that opportunity. And it's one of the rare situations where we know if Walker's out, Charbonnet steps in and he's basically a top 12 running back for fantasy. But I thought it was really interesting to see last year Walker showing that he had the pass catching chops. He averaged over 4 catches per game. That was huge. If you put that average over the full year, he would have been second among running backs in receptions last year, which I don't think anybody would have thought Kenneth Walker could be that kind of player. And yet he has that in his bag. So for me, it's just a matter of, can he stay healthy? And when we get to the 4th round, that's when I'm willing to kind of take a little bit of risk on. Those first few rounds, I want to make sure I'm getting guys that, of course, they have to have that elite potential, but you kind of want to just not miss in those first 3 rounds. Once you get to the 4th round, you got a few players, you got your core. Now I'm willing to take a chance on a guy like Walker. What do you think? Am I crazy to dip into this Walker scenario and risk that he's just going to get hurt on me again?
I mean, I think it's important to realize, and you kind of outlined this, that in the 4th round, floor doesn't really exist anymore. If these players had floor, they'd be 2nd and 3rd round picks. So you're swinging for the fences. You're looking for upside. A lot of moving parts of this offense. New coordinator, Kubiak. New quarterback, Sam Darnold. They've repainted the wide receiver room. JSN is still there, but the guys behind him are new players. And I don't know what Cooper Kupp's going to do. I can't believe MVS is still ostensibly a starter for an NFL team these days, but here we are. So it makes me a little bit nervous. Also, if you're going to draft Walker, it comes to, how do you feel about Zach Charbonnet? What's the true talent difference between these two guys? Could Charbonnet ever win the game, win the job on talent, impress the new coordinator Kubiak, or maybe Walker's just too big to fail? You like him more than I do, but I mean, look, Justin, when you came over here, I mean, your Fantasy Pros trophies, I can see you in the background. I mean, they speak for themselves. You're a rankings god. Harmon and I have said it. And so whenever we disagree, I know I have to go back on my argument and see if I'm missing something. I think Walker's a little bit more risky than I'm willing to take on in round 4, understanding that's a risky round. I see somebody, I know that helium's getting a little bit crazy with the Marion Hampton. He's 39th on the ADP we're using for this exercise. If faced with Hampton or Walker, I think I might go with Hampton. And if you think that's crazy, you can tell me. But I also see when Kenneth Walker's been healthy, he's shown the potential to be a top 7, top 8 fantasy back. And if you knew that he was going to get through mostly a full season, and we're coming off a year where running backs generally didn't get hurt, with just a couple of rare examples, I mean, I certainly see the upside that you're going for. And Clint Kubiak, we like him to design a good running game. I mean, everything fell apart last year with the Saints, although Kamara still had a good year. I can't really hold that against Kubiak. His entire offensive line got hurt, it felt like, at one point. So I see the upside you're going for. And in the 4th round, really, upside should be the determining factor in why you make your pick.
Well, you asked about the Hampton Walker thing. I'm certainly in on Hampton. I'm going to do a rankings update tonight before I'm out for the weekend. And right now, Hampton is still that guy for me. I'm taking him. I would be taking him in the 3rd round. I would certainly take him over Walker, but going to have to take a look and see what kind of information we get about the Rashawn Slater injury and how much that could impact the run game there. So everybody will be able to check out my updated rankings tomorrow at Yahoo. The last thing I'll say on Walker too is it almost reminds me a little bit of the James Conner situation, where when he's out there, he's like a top 15 back. You just kind of know he's probably going to miss 3 or 4 games in a season, and that's okay. And maybe it's just me being overconfident, but I feel like I'm going to be able to find replacements those weeks, and I'll know that he's going to give me meaningful production when he's on the field. I'm kind of approaching Walker the same way, that if he's not out there, I'll figure it out. But when he's out there, he's an automatic start and a guy that has that really high end upside.